L-A-D-E-I-E-S, and we're up first. L-A-D-E-I-E-S, I-E-S, L-A-D-E-I-E-S, and we're up first.
Speak what you want, unbossed. Speak what you want, unbossed. Speak what you want, unbossed.
And we're up first.
Unapologetically great. Unapologetically great. Unapologetically great.
And we're up first.
Yes, ladies, that's dope.
Yes, ladies.
That's dope.
Yes, ladies.
That's dope.
And we're up first.
It's time for the ladies.
It's the ladies first Chit-Chat crew.
Time for the ladies.
It's the ladies first Chit-Chat crew.
One time for the ladies in the house. Two time make the people scream and shout. Lachelle, Chandra, Crystal with Nikki on boss and Nikki.
L-A-D-E-I-E-S, I-E-S, L-A-D-E-I-E-S, and we're up first. L-A-D-E-I-E-S, I-E-S, I-E-S, L-A-D-E-I-E-S, and we're up first. What's up, y'all? Happy Saturday. Welcome to the Ladies First Chit-Chat crew, where we honor the voice of the everyday woman. Happy 3. We back.
We're back.
We're back. Hi, y'all.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Y'all.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Oh,
Year. Y'all
wow.
look pretty in your red.
That part. Happy New Year.
Y'all look pretty in your red this morning.
You know, red looks good on melanina.
It does.
Y'all, those of y'all that are joining us that are new, we are the Ladies First Chit-Chat crew. Lachelle, Chandra, Crystal, and Nikki, Boss, and Nikki. Yes, where we honor the voice of the everyday woman. Our mission is we provide a space for you to recognize where you are right at this moment, and we inspire you to take action to go after what it is. And it's so purposeful for what we are talking about today. Limitless living, doing your don'ts. But before we get into that, can I share something with y'all real quick?
Certainly.
I gotta tell y'all, can I tell y'all a story that happened to me last night, just real quick? So I did a old college thing where you stay up all night and do work, and I ended up sleeping in my office, got up, day just went. And so I went home, took a shower, rejuvenated, came back. Rebecca was in the office. I just fell out. She was like a mom, like, you gotta go home. So I went home, took a quick nap Friday night, got up, was ready. I poured my wine, I ate my salad. I was ready to watch RuPaul's Drag Race. And Robert and Brittany hit me up to make sure I went home. Rebecca FaceTimes me to make sure I'm there. Glass of wine, ready to go. Last thing I saw was RuPaul in his sparkly sequin outfit at 8 o'clock, wine in my hand. Next thing I know, it's 12:30. Don't ask me how my TV got on Lifetime. And I'm like, what is wet? My entire wine glass soaks up my comforter, my sheet. It's on my Lululemon tights, on my shirt. I was like, and then just a little bit of wine creakling in the glass.
You were like,
I was like, but y'all, the funny thing about it is I looked at it, I went,
Drink this little bit, shoot.
I didn't even know I was that tired. I didn't even know I was that tired.
Yeah.
You was to the window and to the wall.
I was to the window.
You should. We not 10 no more. We not 12.
Nikki,
But
don't
I
listen.
was ready.
You have your Uggs on.
Your Uggs and your see?
I'm done with you.
I don't know. I was like excited, ready, rejuvenated.
Sure.
And that's what happened. So
The question is, how did it get on Lifetime?
how did it get on? I was just me.
Your TV was like, you know what I call my mature old ladies. Your old biddies was like, I just TV on to that episode that movie that they redid 50 times the same way with 40 different characters.
I know. I was like, what
on the Lifetime? The Lifetime.
Put on the Lifetime TV. But yeah, I woke up and it was on Lifetime. I didn't understand why. But anyway, I am here with my beautiful sisters talking about this limitless living, doing your don'ts. I love this topic. Y'all know we talk on Thursdays, and this is something that we talked about, honestly, everybody, in 2022. And 2022 was the year we were talking about our passions and going after our passions. We're not talking anymore. We are not talking anymore. It is time to do. And when we talk about doing your don'ts, I remember Shelly was like, it's a lot of us that say, do you do this? And people go, I don't do that. And you're like, well, why? And some people go, well, see, what happened was this. Or they go, because. And you're like, well, why? And when you do that, when you think about it, I'm throwing this out to y'all. When you do that and you think about automatically saying, I don't do something. And then when someone says why, you don't have an answer. Why is that? Why is that? Why is that?
Yep.
I'm probably scared.
Scared?
You asked me to go skydiving. No, I don't do that.
I think
a big part of it is how you were raised. We take on our parents' fears, because they push them on us. I remember my nephew was terrified of dogs when he was little. Terrified, like the sound of a dog, he would like start shaking and screaming and crying. And that was his mother. His mother was whatever the level of above terrified was, that's what she is. And she pushed that every time they would see a dog. She'd be like, don't touch it, don't go near it. Don't, she pushed that on him. My nephew loves dogs, like loves dogs. And once he realized that this is mommy pushing this on me and not what I actually feel about it, he loves it. My dad got him a dog and, all this stuff just so he can get, out of that fear. But it was definitely his mama's fear, not his, that he adapted.
I mean, I know with my daughter, I definitely, from the time she was little, introduced things to her that maybe I wasn't as comfortable doing, telling her, oh, it's okay, go do it, go try that. I encouraged her to do it so she didn't have a fear. So to your point, it could be something that you pick up from your parents and how you've been brought up, but it also could be that it's just never been introduced to you. So it's just not your norm, right? And you see it as, wow, that's a little different and crazy. And so I know with me, with my daughter specifically, there are a number of things, even if it's, like just knowing more about something. Let's just take sports, for instance. For years I was in sales and I used to hate being in meetings. And the first thing, because you're in a male dominated world, they're just talking about the game and I could never contribute. And then they would assume because my husband played football that I just knew or I followed, and I didn't. And I used to feel so uncomfortable. So I made sure at an early age, she was introduced to all kinds of sports. She knows how to play video games. So she can contribute, you know what I mean? Or not feel like she doesn't understand. that was a big deal. So I agree with you, Chandra.
I love that. I love that as a parent, you do that, Nikki. My mom did the same thing. And I think it goes to, you stepped out of your comfort zone to make sure your daughter will continue to step out of her comfort zone. And that's what the show is about today. I'm gonna throw it to Lachelle, because we were having this conversation about doing your don'ts. And then Nikki thought of this limitless living. And Lachelle introduced us to this amazing couple and our guests that we have on our show today. And I'm so excited to have them on. Shelly, tell us a little bit about our guests, your friends, and how you met them. And then let's bring them on so they can tell us their story.
So back in 2021, right? I think it was 2021. I have another platform about partnering for single people. It's called Ready to Partner. So me and my partner there, Robin, we collaborated with a photo company. You know how you get stock photos? There's a photo company called POC Stock. So it's people of color. So all their photos are people of color. Because if you notice, when you go to the stock photos, a lot of times it's hard to find people who look like you. So we collaborated with POC Stock around Valentine's Day to promote the POC Stock brand and interview a bunch of couples of different backgrounds, different ages, different experiences, all people of color. And Crister and Demar, who we'll be having on today, they were one of the couples and that I got to interview for this series. And when I tell you, I was blown away. You know, this was, 2021. So we were still very pandemic-y, the beginning of 2021. And the life they were living in this moment when we were all sort of hunkering down and fearful of a lot of things, even things we weren't fearful of before, was the polar opposite. Like they were doing all the don'ts that everyone else was like, nope, we can't do that, won't do that, don't do that. They were doing it all. And so they, never left my energy and space. And since then, I've been following their journey on YouTube. So when we talked about this topic, I was like, this is the perfect couple to bring on for this show. And they're coming. So I'll turn it back to you, Nikki. Are you muted? I don't hear you.
All right, let's bring our beautiful couple on. I want to show a little video of them, but I want to bring them on first. And then I'm going to show a little video about, a great video about their travels and who they are and introduce their YouTube page. Well, without further ado, let's bring the man and the woman of the hour, Demar and Crister, to the
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's so beautiful. Hello.
Look at y'all. Look at them. Look at them.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys bringing us on for this topic.
Yeah, and Happy New Year also.
Happy New
Year. So let's get into it. I want to hear your story first. Start from the beginning, how you met. And yeah, let's start there. Tell us how you met, because I think that is such a beautiful and interesting story, and also a story about stepping out of your comfort zone. So let's go.
Well, it was a fairy tale meeting, So Dee and I had actually known each other for quite some time. We were engaged for, let's say, 5 years, but before that, we had known each other. We were in each other's circles through mutual friends, and we would see each other at parties. We would say hi and keep it moving. We were never in each other's radar, so to speak. And so that was like one of those things that she's nice, but I didn't see myself at that point yet. But it was until a mutual friend of ours had gotten married that our relationship really took off. So they had gotten married in upstate New York. This was when we were still in New York City. And so the drive was about 3 hours, and our mutual friends convinced us to drive together. And so, you put two people together in a car driving for 3 hours, anything can happen, good or bad. But in this case, a great thing did happen. And so, in that drive, we had great conversations. We had conversations that we normally would not have if we were to see each other in a party. And so we certainly have our friends to thank for that. They were certainly, tinkering behind the scenes to put us together. So we want to thank them for that. But we just our conversations, and then just talking about random things on the drive, and then on the way back, that certainly sparked a relationship between the both of us. And so when we came back, I like to tell people when they ask me, oh, how did you tell me? So I like to say, I drove to a wedding single, I came back with a girlfriend. And so and so I just want to point it out there, before we do anything, if anybody out there knows, if you're single and if you have a friend getting married, hey, just go to that wedding. You never know.
Amen.
And it's interesting because Crister and I have like photos where we've been in the same space with our friends. Like we were at a baseball game or we were at their barbecue, but we just, like he said, we just said hi to each other and we kept it moving at that time. And then it wasn't until we were at that wedding on the drive home that like he said, we sparked conversation. And then we realized, like, even though we're two different people, we still have like so much in common. So my background, my parents are West African. So they're from Liberia, and Crister's family is from the Philippines. And you would think, I mean, we're polar opposites, but we still have a lot in common. And it just started from there. That was it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the whole aspect that stepping out of your comfort zone from the jump. You two, you knew each other, but when you got to ride in a car with someone for a while that you don't really that you don't really know, and the fact, because people will say, no, I'm not going to do that. People will say that. People will say,
I drive myself.
I drive myself.
That's what I was saying. It's like I'll drive myself. That's fine.
And I said the same thing. I was like, I'll ride with myself. Like I'll ride by myself. It's okay. And our friends kept insisting, like, no, just drive together. And so sometimes I think, what if I had taken that drive by myself? Like we wouldn't be here. We may never be here. We never would have known, what would have come out of that. So it is stepping out of your comfort zone.
Well, I also know, so y'all came back, you went to a wedding, you came back with your lovers.
I don't think we were lovers yet at that time, but we were on the way there.
We're putting it out there.
You were Lover's Lane.
Love, yes, you were in Lover's Lane.
Yes.
And then what? The pandemic happened, right?
Yeah.
Yes. The pandemic happened.
Let's get into that. Tell us about that.
So that was fun. So, okay,
so the pandemic happened. So we were both living in New York at the time. So I had my apartment, he had his apartment. We had talked about moving in together, but we were still kind of on the fence. And then right at the start, like in March, February, like late February, Crister moved in with me. And so we were in the pandemic together. Like, I mean,
real quick. So how long had you been dating before the pandemic?
So 2016, 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So you knew each other.
Yeah, we knew each other. We just weren't ready for that next step.
You weren't next. Okay, got it.
Oh my gosh. And then you went from let's live together to like everything is happening in this house because y'all can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
We didn't get tired of each other. It brought us closer.
Yeah, I won't say it brought us closer.
It did bring us closer together. It forced us, and I guess, and during that time, you had like George Floyd, and so there was a lot of racial tension in the air, and it forced us to have a lot of conversations that we might not have had. But that time definitely brought us closer, and then we realized, like, okay, we're in the pandemic, but we can still do things. I mean, because New York was like a ghost town. And it was weird to go out and just see the streets of New York empty, or like go to Times Square. And it's like, this looks like something out of a movie, like apocalyptic, because we just were not used to seeing that. But we were like, we can still go places. Like, we're not supposed to be around people, but we could take drives upstate. We can hike. We can do little things here and there. And so that's kind of where it started.
Yeah, and I think during the pandemic also, like a lot of people, sought refuge being outdoors. They were hiking more, they were camping more. So that's kind of like a second part to our adventure, I would say. We want, pandemic, of course, we were trying to be, safe and social distance, but we were doing things our own. We were keeping, we're going as far off distance in New York, and so we were by ourselves, and so I think that's where we are like our best, when we're like just the two of us being against the wilderness, so to speak.
I love that.
Just curious, were y'all doing things like that before, like hiking and things like that? Or did you decide, well, why don't we try this? Like, was it an opportunity to start to try different things so that you could do something different together, or just do something because you're locked down?
So I have always been adventurous in nature, by nature. And so when Crister and I first got together, a couple of months after we, after we solidified our relationship, I told Crister, get dressed. Crister didn't know where we were going, but I knew he had a fear of heights. So I told Crister, get dressed, and I'll let you finish the story.
Yeah, get dressed, and then boy, was I in for a surprise. So it was the beginning of our adventure, and it kind of, well, I don't want to get into it just now, but I just want to preface by saying that it kind of hallmarked my feelings for Demar, because yes, she was taking me on adventures, and she was pushing me beyond my normal boundaries, but it was something that she knew was safe, and I think that's important, when you're pushing yourself. You don't want to push yourself where you're gonna die, obviously,
Right.
but you want to set limits and take it step by step. And so, with that being said, Demar knew I had a fear of heights, and so she actually took me ziplining. Never been ziplining in my life, and we had to hike to get to that ziplining point. And so there was certainly hiking involved, and but just taking that leap down that rope was certainly something that was eye-opening, exhilarating, and really just what the heck am I doing here? But
I was gonna say, I would have been like, you don't love me. You don't love me, 'cause I'm gonna die if I do this, right?
but it was at that point of no return, because we were already there. This was upstate New York. We were already there. I was like, I can't chicken out now. I was like,
that's the way down.
Right.
Yep, exactly.
So it sounds like there was a sense of like, you sort of figured out that this was your person, like a sense of security with her pushing you. She also, it sounds like she was also like holding you at the same time, right?
Yes. Yeah. Certainly that. And that's, I think that really did, solidify my feelings for her, because yes, she was very adventurous in nature, and me, I was kind of more reserved. And so she kind of guided me through her own experiences. And so she was like, okay, it's going to be okay. Just do this, follow what I say. And then, just jump. And so I think that's what most of us are lacking, that person, and I'm very fortunate to be able to have that in my life, have that catalyst to say, jump, you're going to be safe. Just believe in yourself. It's, it'll be fine.
That is saying a lot.
It is saying a lot. I keep going back to, what if you would have driven by yourself?
Yeah.
I would still be in New York.
Yeah, exactly. I know one of the
feel after you did it, and did it open you up to like, oh, well, maybe I'll think about doing this next? I mean, how did you feel after you did it?
Well, yeah, it certainly did open floodgates to to more experiences. I still draw the line at skydiving, though. I'm just gonna say that is my definite don't. I know it's all about doing or don'ts, but I'm not doing that now.
That's a beautiful thing, though, because think about it. It sounds like before Demar started pushing you, right, and saying, "Come do this with me. It's gonna be okay." You had a lot of lines, a lot of reserve, and now you're like, "I'm gonna pretty much try anything except that one thing." So, I mean, it's everybody's gonna have one or two don'ts somewhere. But I mean, most of us have a gazillion don'ts that keep us from living and keep us from having this life as an adventure.
And I think it really is important to note, and I say this, Krister and I do talk about this. So when I met Krister was working 2 jobs, right? So he had his 9 to 5, he came home, and then 6 to 10, he was at his second job. He went to sleep, woke up. It was the same kind of mundane routine every single day. And I was just like, wait, he doesn't do anything. Like, his life is his work. And I was like, I need to, if this is somebody that I see myself with, there are things that we're going to have to switch up in our relationship. And you can't just live your life to just go to work every day and come home and just the same thing, 24 hours a day. And so I'm glad that he was willing to take that risk, because this was something new for him. And now we've realized, like, okay, work is important, but prioritizing yourself is important as well. Like, you have to make time. We're so busy. We go to work every day, and we're so busy saying yes to everybody else that we forget to say yes to ourselves. And so I'm glad that he took that risk.
And see, speaking of risk, I want our audience to see your video so they can see just a little bit about what you guys do, where you've been, and you've started chronicling and basically blogging what you do. So let's pull this up. I mean, can everyone see this?
Yeah, it's loading. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Here we go.
Can you make it big on their side?
I'm gonna try.
Oh man.
I'm D.
And I'm Chris. My lips are freezing.
And we're from the Big Apple.
Is that working? There we go.
Also known as New York City. When we're not working full time, we love all things travel and adventure.
Andy, I'll see you down there. We love exploring amazing locations in and around our home state, and staying in unique places. Look to your left.
We love taking risks and enjoying life to the fullest.
So subscribe to our channel and come along with us on all our adventures.
Oh.
That was so inspiring.
Oh,
and I think it's important to note that we've done a lot. We've been to a lot of places, but travel and adventure, it doesn't necessarily always have to involve flying across the country. Travel and adventure can be looking for what's right in your own backyard.
Absolutely.
So we don't want for people to think that, oh, well, they were able to go here and go there, but I don't have the means to financially. But it's not about that. Adventure means different things to different people. And it could just mean getting up one Saturday, going to your nearby park and going on a hike. Right. So, it's whatever you want it to be.
What were some of your favorite, local adventures you took?
So when we were living in New York, we loved the Adirondacks, upstate New York. It's about a 4-hour drive. But that is like an adventure paradise. And so we went snowboarding, snowmobiling. There's just a lot of things to do there. Waterfalls, hiking. So that's one of our favorite destinations in New York.
I love it.
Nice.
And then now that we're down,
I was just having that conversation with my wife yesterday about we're trying to implement the 222 marriage rule. Have you guys heard of that? It's a 222 marriage guide. It's or relationship guide. It don't have to be married, but it's to get in a date night every 2 weeks because that weekly date night is not real. Um,
It's
get in
real,
the,
Sandra.
it ain't real with two kids. It ain't unless you're doing it in the house. That's why I'm gonna come back around to that. Doing a going on a date like outside of the house every 2 weeks, 2 times a year going overnight somewhere for one night, and every 2 years going away for multiple days.
Okay.
And then so it's just like implementing that. But we were just talking about it because we do have 2 children and they're little. So we don't want to be gone from them long period of time. And we were just talking about, we don't have to go. She was like, well, where do you want to go? And I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere. First of all, COVID is still real. And I don't want to go anywhere that's, too far away from our children. And so we were just talking about doing things, and we were talking about the Catskills and, being 4 hours away, 2 hours away, 3 hours away, just looking at those parameters and seeing what's around there. Because there is a lot of beautiful things that you can do, in and around your own city that's just in a car drive away versus having to get on a plane.
And then it speaks to the topic originally, like people, I don't travel in New York. I need to go to the Caribbean. And it's like, you don't need to go to the Caribbean.
Right.
There's lots of, you can choose a place and stay at a hotel. And, we once, this is many years ago now, which is unfortunate. We did like a bed and breakfast in like Rhinebeck, New York, because I had gone there for a work event. And I was like, this is really nice. So my husband and I went for his birthday, and it was so, so nice just walking around the town and having dinner and, staying in a nice place and not having to do anything. And it was like an hour from our house. So it was really, that's a big do. We can definitely do that.
Absolutely.
I have a question, Crister and Demar. How is this? Clearly, you've grown as individuals. How have you grown? How have you grown going on these adventures and not allowing constraints to keep you still and just going out there and doing it? Have you felt growth within yourself as a person? And if so, how? Share that with us.
You want to go first?
You can go.
Okay. So definitely for me, I'm kind of more open to experiences, knowing that Demar's there with me to guide me to make sure everything will be safe. But it's also before meeting Demar and throughout our relationship, my whole personality really has changed. I'm really that kind of person that I'm reserved. I will keep to myself. I'm like a dreamer. I will plan to do something. Like one day I'll do that, but let me do this first. But now with Demar, I'm kind of like inspired to just, okay, I have the means to get this done. I don't necessarily need to be tied to my job right now, so I can go off on an adventure. So that has opened up basically a new world of experiences for myself. And so right now we our daily routine. I don't say daily routine, but most of the fun activities that we do is like when we plan our next adventure, our next vacation or our next weekend getaway. So like all that, like I'm looking forward to those conversations instead of just saying, we can't do that right now because I have to work Saturday, or I have this other obligation that requires me to be there. So I want to say right now I'm kind of more living, rather than just rather than just staying to a routine.
Do you still work 2 jobs?
No. So at that point in time when I was working those 2 jobs, yes, I certainly want to emphasize that we definitely we all have bills to pay, and we all got to work, and I don't want to put that down. We all have our lives to live. However, once you're in that position where you have the means to, especially financially and especially in this economic times, everything is hard. If you have the means to do so, then you can change your life. You don't necessarily need to be saving up for the future. And while that's a good thing, it's not necessarily guaranteed. Like, you don't want to live for the future and forget how to live now. And so, at this point, I'm working still, but learning how to work to live, rather than the other way around, so to speak.
I just have to take a moment. I find y'all to be the most beautiful couple and so inspiring. I mean, I'm like sitting here getting lost in my thoughts and just trying to think, what can I inspire myself to do that would be a little bit more adventurous? I have to tell you, on a funny note, I must have missed the memo on hiking, because y'all started hiking. I've been watching Oprah and all these hikes. I'm like, hiking, and I'm looking at how great she looks. I'm like, I must have missed that memo. I'm extremely inspired.
Thank you.
I think conversation, this is great.
As a couple, we've learned to that just continue to build that trust with one another. And then we motivate each other and we challenge each other. And, we both push each other out of our comfort zones. There were things that, yes, I was adventurous, but there were things that I was not used to doing, such as camping. And so Crister now always wants to go camping. And even hiking, there are certain things that I may be uncomfortable with, but he's like, it's okay, babe. Just keep going, keep climbing, like you'll get there. So we've learned to push each other, motivate each other, challenge each other. So a lot has come out of this, and I'm really grateful and blessed to have found him as my life partner.
And what I hear, though, I love how you were the one that started pushing the adventurous part. And how, as he found something in that adventure that he loves, he continues to encourage you, and he says, I got you.
Yeah.
All because you did adult.
Like
that.
That's correct.
Yep.
So how, I want to hear from you, Demar. How have you grown? Since you were the adventurous one at first, how has this made you grow? And one more thing, did you find there was something, I know you mentioned the camping thing, but did you find there was something that opened you up even more as you guys decided to step out different comfort zones together?
I think it was more so, what opened me up more was just Crister's continuous reassurance that he had my best interests, at heart, and that everything was going to be okay. And that we weren't kind of, stepping into this, like, even though we're stepping into this blindly, it's like, okay, babe, like, I got your back. I know that you'll be okay. And I've grown also, even though we love travel and adventure, Crister was definitely the balance that I needed, because I feel like I didn't know when to stop. And so Crister keeps me grounded at times. He's like, okay, listen, like, this is all fine and well, but you have to take a chill pill. You have to take a chill pill sometimes. And I always had the live for today personality. And so now I've started to, since we've been together, I think more about the future. Whereas before I was just like, life is short, we got to do it now, and I'm doing it, and that's it. But he's kind of, made me kind of stop and think like, okay, babe, living for today is great, but you also have to, think about the future and plan for the future as well. So I have grown in that aspect tremendously.
I have a question. Had either of you dated out of your race before? And so answer that, and then I'll come back with my second question.
I have.
Oh.
I just never told you.
Well, we're learning some new things today, but so you have?
Yeah, in college.
Okay.
Yeah, but after that was it.
Okay. What was it like? Someone at that was
No,
I'm just curious because
I'm curious.
Was she
too.
bad? Was she?
Was she cute like me?
You want to open a can of worms today, huh?
Listen, I was just thinking about the don'ts. Like, had you ever dated anyone? I had never dated outside of my race before, so I was just wondering, had either of you?
I had, and I think living in a city as like culturally diverse as New York, I mean, you see so many people from different ethnicities. So it was something that I was open to, but I wasn't thinking that way at the time when I met Crister. Because I looked at him, outwardly, and I was like, well, what could we possibly have in common? And maybe that's a part of the reason why I didn't want to ride with him in that car.
Right. 3 hours with a real stranger.
Right.
What can we talk about?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And my other question probably is to you, Dee. Were you like this as a child? Did you like doing different things as a little kid? Did you like exploring? Or you kind of mentioned that he now grounds you. Like, did you find yourself impulsive or just like inquisitive?
I found that I was very impulsive, but I also have to give a lot of credit to my parents as well, because growing up, my parents would always take us places like on the weekends or take us on vacations. So they were a part of the reason. And while we were never really doing extreme activities, but they were a part of the reason that I got to see a lot of things outside of that neighborhood that I was living in New York. And so I remember specifically going on a trip to Tennessee with my parents. And I think they asked us to like each pick an activity that we wanted to do. And so with my parents, I said I wanted to go whitewater rafting. My parents are West African. And so
they was like, no.
The fact that I was able to get my entire family to go whitewater rafting, that was like the highlight. They were so open and willing to do it. And so that's one memory that I will always cherish. Like, they stepped out of their comfort zone for me. So that's one thing that I always cherish.
What
that brings me back around to what we were saying earlier about Dee bringing you out of your comfort zone, period. And it just makes me want to like highlight and bring into the forefront that it doesn't have to be someone that you're romantic with. Like, allowing other people to come into our lives to unlock those things for us doesn't have to be someone that we're in a relationship with. You be friends, family, all that kind of stuff that unlocks those other aspects.
And it can be yourself. Like, you don't always need to have other people around. Like, I'm a firm believer in taking yourself out on a date or traveling somewhere by yourself. And you get to meet and interact with other people, and you don't necessarily have to have people around you all the time to create your own fun.
That's right. That's something I was just telling
Rebecca mentioned that in the comments. She talks about dating herself, but do you remember Choose Your Own Adventure book?
I do remember those.
Yeah.
Yep. Was that my thing?
A trip to the bank can be an adventure. Well, that is true.
She makes it adventurous too. When you FaceTime her, she's like, I'm coming from the bank. You're like, I want to go to the bank. What I'm noticing though, Demar, Ruby says Demar is such an inspiration for Black women to be encouraged to step beyond the stereotypical things that Black girls don't or won't do. You are clearly an enroller. Okay. The fact, when you met Crister and you like, we gonna do this. Something about you, it could have been, it's that beautiful face and that hair and that that kind of got them. But there's something about you inside that's an enroller, as how you got your family to get involved, to step out,
and sign up.
It is, and Ruby's right. That's one of the reasons why we started talking about doing it.
I want to add that because Yeah, I was thinking in my head, it's I don't, I won't, I don't need to, right? Those are
Yeah.
all the limiting things that we put before us. I'm curious, are you intentional about how or planning adventures or doing things on a weekly or monthly or yearly basis? I'm just curious. So is it just a lifestyle now where it's spontaneous, or is it a
I will.
combination?
I would
I,
say it's a combination because while with our trailer, like you can see us living the life, going to these places and experiencing new things. That's not an everyday thing. That's not our reality. We do have regular lives. We do go to work, but we do plan these. Like we plan at least one big vacation a year, especially because our birthdays are so close to each other. So we plan a joint vacation together, and that's where our big planning goes to. But every once in a while when we're feeling stressed at work or there's just a lot going on, we do like to take a weekend vacation. Airbnb is our thing. I don't know if it's a thing right now because I don't that's a different conversation. But that's how we find these places in New York. There's places in North Carolina that I'm looking forward to actually visiting. But it's just one of those. Just let's have a little retreat in this little house out in the woods, um, and yeah.
I know one thing that we are intentional about is date night. We've been doing date night since we started dating, and we usually do our date nights on Friday, but we are very intentional about date nights, and that's something that I think a lot of couples forget. And I'm just speaking, for some of the couples that I know, like they're married, but you get so caught up in the day to day, like you actually have to remember that you have to still like continue to date your partner. So we go out on date nights. We love to eat. But but even if we're at home, you can have a date night at home. Like it could just be, Netflix and chill, or let's cook a meal together.
Yes.
But date night doesn't always necessarily mean, I have to go out and spend money on something. It can be right in the comfort of your own home. I remember, this is a cute date night story. One time, I like the series Stranger Things. And so Crister had, I think at one point we had like purchased a camping tent. So one night Crister pitched the tent in his living room and set it up like we were camping, and we were sitting in the tent watching Stranger Things. And it was like, that was one of the best date nights ever. So it's, it's little things like that.
Yes.
I have a question. What's your sign? What's your love language?
I'm a Pisces, so.
What's your love language? I love that.
Pisces are amazing.
But
tell us, Lachelle.
I guess that kind of speaks to who I am more, because I can go one of either ways. I could go or I could not go. I could be indifferent to a situation, and so having that catalyst, Demar over here, can certainly push me in a certain direction.
Well, I like, because you said earlier, you said you're a dreamer, but you don't always attack your dreams or as far as like, doing adventures and stuff. It's interesting because I was watching some motivational something, and the guy on there was saying like he doesn't set goals for himself anymore. He took the actual word goal out of his vocabulary, and he sets objectives with no limitations. And that just kind of gave me a, like, you hear something, you like, what you say? But it makes sense to me right now in this moment. It's more clear with this scenario of like, we're all dreamers. We all want to be able to do all these huge things. We want to go all these beautiful places, and we want to, take time and blah, 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 all these things. But in the end of the day, it's about setting an objective and actually attacking that objective with no limitations is when we actually do things that we said that we wanted to do. i.e., you going hiking or whatever the objective is that D takes you on.
There's a good book out that's called, well, it's called Write It Down, Make It Happen. And then we also do, we've done vision boards. Like we've done, so this year, at the beginning of the year, we did individual vision boards, and then we did a vision board as a couple. And so it's nice to have that up so we can actually see it as a reminder that these are things that we want to attain and aspire to do. As a, you know, like you can write it down and then just kind of throw it in the closet and then you forget that it's there. But to actually see it, you know, it's definitely like a constant reminder. And it doesn't have to be done right away. Like these are things that you can aspire to do within the next year or 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah.
As long as you just don't forget about it.
You know, when Crister, when you said it's not like we go on adventures, it's not an everyday thing. The thing that stands out to me is for many people, it's a never day thing.
Yes.
Right? It really is like they are always in a state of thinking about or imagining or daydreaming about something that they feel like they want to try, but they certainly can line up a very long list of don'ts. I don't do this. I don't get my hair wet. I don't do this on weekends. I don't stay up late. I don't get up early. Like don't. And it turns into a life of never days. You never actually end up doing those things. So it's really a beautiful expression of how casually you can spend time in your life experiencing new things from your living room to a mountaintop somewhere. So I appreciate that, you know? I appreciate your sharing in this way so broadly.
Yeah. And
Me too.
it's inspiring. It's inspiring. It's inspiring individually and also keeping open as for me when I get ready, you know, get that person that I want to spend the rest of my life with, that I'm thinking about that as well and how beautiful and wonderful and amazing it can be and it can look, you know. So we thank y'all for coming on. I do want to encourage everyone to go follow them, follow their YouTube.
It's a must. It's a must. I'm always waiting. I'm always like,
yeah, go find.
And I write it down. I'm like, so and so falls. I'm like,
I'm going to send this out in our email as well. And also follow Crister and Demar on Instagram at Here and the Red Sea. I love that.
No, it's Here and There DC.
Oh, I thought it was like at Here in the Red Sea. I like that joke.
I was like, what does that even mean?
That's biblical.
I do want to put this out there though, just a suggestion to Demar and Crister before you leave. I got to shout out Mama Watts. He said North Carolina has all kinds of places to explore.
Okay, no, honey.
Mountains to the coast. So
that's what I was going to ask. If anybody, because we're new to, I mean, well, kind of new, but we just moved here from New York in August. So we're, you know, now we're wanting to explore North Carolina. So if you guys know of any places, we would appreciate it.
We all are. What part are you all in?
We're in Durham.
Oh, they're by you. Yeah, we're in Charlotte.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
North Carolina.
Yes, but we want to know too, Mama Watts. So if you got some places for us to go over on this side, 100%. And if you got some tips on putting your kids to sleep at a decent hour so you can have a good date night.
You want that too? Just DM.
But see, this is what you do, Chandra. You take the kids hiking, and then when they come home, they're so tired. Then you have a date night.
Well, listen, we all gonna be tired at that rate. We got a 9-month-old and a 4-year-old.
Okay.
Them
babies Mama Watts did give her and Maya said, and wineries in North Carolina are amazing.
Yes,
And
I'm gonna send y'all a few, Crister and Demar. I have a few.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Don't tease me with a good time, Mama Watts. Don't tease me with a good time.
No, Demar and Crister, this has been amazing. You are a beautiful couple, inspiring together and individually. Again, we encourage go follow them on IG. On their IG page, they also have a link to their YouTube page. And go see their adventures, support their adventures. Let it inspire you. I know I'm inspired. I think of myself as an open person, but when we brought this topic up, there's some things I couldn't believe. I heard myself say, "Oh, I don't do that," and I was like, "Why?" So I want to join the adventure train. I want to join the adventure train.
Let's all challenge ourselves to do one new thing this year that's out of our comfort zone, or maybe one thing every 6 months that's out of our comfort zone.
Yes, we'll do. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Y'all are
Thank you.
absolutely beautiful. Again, everyone follow them IG and
Here in the Red Sea.
And here in the Red Sea. And here in the Red Sea.
So silly.
You should probably change that.
No, it's good.
Y'all are wonderful. I'm gonna put y'all back in the green room, but we're gonna wrap up the show. Don't go anywhere though. Stay back there, okay? All right. Everyone say bye to Crister and Demar. Yes. That was great. So where are we going? Where are we going?
Listen, we've been trying to do a girls non-work getaway for a long time. So it's time to add that.
Let's calendar.
Let's do that.
Remember Maya had, I don't know if she had posted it on here, but she had said something about like that bed and breakfast that her and her line sisters went to.
Yes.
We need to look back into that.
We need to look back into
Come on, Maya, send us back the info.
Send us back the info.
We need to do that and do something there, right?
Yeah.
The key word is do. We got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The key word is do.
Yes.
Well, thank you, ladies. We no don't. We are back. I like the objectives with no limitations.
Yep.
I love that.
I love that.
Back. I literally went to everything because I would be like, write your goals down, do the goals, the goals. I went to everything that have goal on them and cut it off and put
objectives with no limitations. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, y'all, we are back, everybody. We will see you next Saturday. New topics. We told you that we were going to start having couples on. We're going to start having men on our show. And stay tuned. Y'all, I get y'all's emails. I get your emails. Thank you for people have been sending ideas of type of topics that they want. I'm share them with the ladies, and we are going to make this happen. Anything anybody want to say before we go out on this Saturday, ladies?
Yes, I want to say happy 23 about me. So everybody needs to spend this year super focused on themselves, find their adventure, drop their don'ts, do their do's. But this year has to be all about you.
I love that. 2023. Y'all know I got to type it in there.
Yep. 23 about me.
2020.
That would be a challenge. Discover 23 things about yourself you did not know this year.
Oh, I love that. Let's talk about that. Let's chit-chat about that. 2023.
About me.
I love that.
I love it. 2023 about me.
Create them.
That's look, without saying anything, that's giving me a good idea about something we're working on. Hey,
I love it.
Have a wonderful Saturday, everybody. Love you. And
Bye.
For you today. Do something
Have a beautiful day.
Yes. Bye, y'all.
Who's first? Ladies. Who's first? Ladies. Who's first? Ladies. What time is it? It's time for the ladies. Ladies. It's the Ladies First Chit-Chat crew. Time for the ladies. what you want. Unbossed, speak what you want. Unbossed, and we're up first. Unapologetically great. Unapologetically great. Unapologetically great. And we're up first. Yes, ladies, that's dope. Yes, ladies, that's dope. Yes, ladies, that's dope. And we're up first. It's time for the ladies. It's the ladies first Chit-Chat crew. Time for the ladies. It's the ladies first Chit-Chat crew. One time for the ladies in the house. Two time make the people scream and shout. Lachelle, Chandra, Crystal with Nikki on Boss and Nikki. And we're up first. And we're up first.
Bye, everybody. 23 about me. I love that.